Aita for losing it when my fiance sold my and my late fiance's engagement rings. I, 33 meters, lost my late fiance to a severe infection, sepsis, in 2016. I proposed to her when she was sick, and we were planning getting married 4 months after proposal, but she passed away, and it was unexpected because her health was getting better after being on life support for 10 hours. She died on the 3rd of July 16 at 1 p.m. and was put to rest with her funeral on Saturday. This was so hard for me to deal with, and I had a hard time coping. The pain was unbearable. There was literally no place to just hide and forget about what happened. It's been 4 years. I'm moving on now. My then girlfriend, now fiance of 2 months, we've been together for 16 months, came around and we started dating. Then I decided to take a step forward and propose to her. She moved in with me after I rented an apartment and changed my job. I kept my and my late fiance's engagement rings and let her family keep most of her belongings before I moved. I have the rings along with a few photos and stuff we bought together. My fiance noticed the rings and said that I was weird for still keeping engagement rings. I don't know why she'd think that. It's not like I wear my past engagement ring on my finger or anything, but she seemed uncomfortable that I was keeping them as mementos. I've been struggling with money lately, and she brought up selling those rings couple of times, but I just told her I'd work something out since she'd get sensitive if I told her they're so important to me. She'd react to that. My and my late fiance's rings were missing 2 days ago. She told me she sold them on Facebook for X amount of money and bought important stuff for the apartment to help with a thing or two. I lost it. I told her she had no right to take personal stuff and sell them online for her convenience, and thinking she was helping, she lashed out saying that she didn't expect me to blow up like that, and tried to justify her behavior by saying that I clearly still have feelings for my late fiance, and asked why would I still keep my late fiance's engagement ring when I already have a fiance. I told her that she would never understand how much she hurt me and disrespected me by doing this. I asked her for some space and she said she wanted to spend the night at a friend's place till I figure out my priorities and realize I shouldn't have yelled like that. NTA, do not marry this girl. That was horrible and cruel of her. Don't marry her. Do get her the duck out of your life. Contact the guy who bought the engagement ring and see if he would sell them back to you. It's an awkward thing to do, but given the circumstances it's worth a shot. Find the buyer and tell them they are stolen property. Your fiance is jealous of a ghost. Your fiance that passed would not want you to be with someone who would treat you that way. NTA. Step 1. File a police report. Please do this. She stole from you. NTA NTA NTA. Find out who she sold them to and get them back. File a police report if you need to. This is theft. This would be a deal breaker for me. Opus. I'm so sorry for your losses. NTA. Yeah. After finding out what happened, I'm sure he could simply offer the money back at cost, or even $100 more if needed. Most people don't want to step on a cherished deceased person's mementos. Now, they wouldn't have to give any money. Handling stolen goods is illegal and the buyer can be charged if they keep it after being informed it was stolen. They can get their money back from the seller, aka the wife, or from their bank, but not from Opus. NTA. You should file a police report, even if it means getting her arrested. Hopefully they can recover your stolen property. The relationship was dead the second she took cash from another person and handed them your rings. She has no respect for you at all. She knew he didn't want the rings to be sold. Why he wanted to keep them is irrelevant. She decided she knows what he wants better than him. Never marry someone like that. You will regret it. NTA. She stole something that was incredibly personally meaningful to you. File a police report and break up with her. I do not see continuing a relationship with someone who did this. NTA. I'm going to bare my soul on something here. In 2009 I was sexually assaulted for the 3rd time in my life and was later diagnosed with PTSD. Late that year, maybe early next, I met a young man I will simply call Jay for this. Jay didn't take to me at first, but over time he began to see my pain and he began to help me. I was in the army, as was he. and he found out I had PTSD. He heard the things others said about me and knew about the illegal gag order my command put me under about my last assault. He started inviting me down to his room so I didn't have to sleep alone. Some days I woke up crying/screaming with his voice and scent calming me. Other days I woke up to him laughing, claiming I'd ruled on him. Beds in barracks rooms are singles. Not much space for two people, so a great deal of cuddling was necessary. Through these times he helped me sleep again, and the night terrors/nightmares eased for a time. Then in 2011 he was killed in action. The last time I had spoken to him, I was trying to work up the courage to tell him I was in love with him. He was deployed to Afghanistan at the time, and he interrupted to tell me about this great woman he met during his mid-to leave. I never admitted my feelings for him, and a month later he was killed in action. I was head over heels for that man, and I was broken. I tell you this story of my past so that you understand. When I lost Jay suddenly, it was so painful for me. As painful as losing someone as close to me as your fiancé was to you. I even went to support groups for people who lost spouses, at the recommendations of others, to try and cope with my loss. I later tried to move on, and dated and even became engaged to another man. And this man couldn't understand that I could love him and still mourn Jay. Every fight, he threw in my face that I was still in love with a dead man. It was the most painful thing I could have said, and eventually led to him cheating on me. I tell you this to help you understand something. If she cannot understand that you can love her and still mourn/love the woman you lost as well, then she has no business being in your life. She will only ever use this as ammo against you. She is far too insecure for you and will never work to understand and work with your pain. Someday you will meet someone who can, but it is clearly not this one. Oh my god. I'm in tears reading this. I'm not a person easily affected, but holy shit, I'm shaking reading this. I'm so sorry. People can be such monsters. I never understood why they can be so cruel. I wish you the best with your life, and I'm sorry you had to deal with all of that. Just awful. Thank you. I do appreciate it. He passed in 2011, and I was fortunate enough in 2016 to marry a man who completely understands. He joins me when I lay a rose at the local war memorial. Jay was buried in a different state and even lets me tell stories I've told 100 times. Things have gotten far better, and I like to think that has a smile on Jay's face wherever he is. NTA, your fianc is a gigantic asshole who's clearly jealous of your late fianc. Just because you want to keep the engagement rings doesn't mean you don't want to be with your fianc. Those engagement rings are memories of your relationship. It's not like you two broke up. She passed away. It wasn't her place to sell those rings. Also, you two have only been together for less than a year and a half and you're already thinking about marriage? That's too soon. I was thinking the same thing. She passed away. Of course he's going to have feelings for her. And likely always will. Exactly. That's something she's going to have to accept. It's clear from his comments that it doesn't affect his relationship with her. NTA. What she did was theft, disrespectful, and wildly inappropriate. You are NTA. Your fiancé dropped these. 1. She was jealous of a woman who has passed on. 2. Went behind your back and stole from you. 3. Decided to sell personal things of yours. 4. As you put it, she disrespected you and your feelings. So she's an asshole and a thief. I don't understand why she'd feel jealous. I give her all my attention and I never even talk about the past with her. I keep a lot to myself, and I never bother her with my issues. Our relationship has been a priority to me ever since we got together. So her behavior is just unreasonable, and for her to do this is just not okay, and I'm hurt that she wouldn't respect my privacy and my personal belongings and decide for me. Speaking as the second wife of a widower, the jealous has absolutely nothing to do with your actions. It is 100% self-created. It's the thoughts that creep in and will turn into this sort of situation if not dealt with. Things like wondering if you're just a replacement. I actually asked my husband to reorganize the furniture in the house when I moved in because I didn't like that it felt like I was just stepping into the vacancy left when she passed. He had no problem with it at all. Current fiancé not being mature enough to actually discuss this with you is a pretty big indication that she is not ready for marriage. Edited for spelling. NTA. Do not apologize for yelling. File a police report that the rings were stolen. Pack her things and leave them on the porch. I'm so sorry for your loss and that your next relationship was so bad. Please don't take this the wrong way, but 16 months usually isn't a long enough time to know someone's true self. She's showing you who she really is. Everyone I know who've lost a partner has never had issues keeping memorabilia of their lost one. Once they've moved on to a new partner, if your fiancé respected you, she wouldn't have even thought of you selling those rings. Call the cops. Get those rings back and get the heck away from that woman. She didn't have your consent, and instead of handing you the money when you were the one who bought the rings, she spent it. She's what I like to call trash. NTA. She stole and sold rings that had sentimental value to you, then tried to paint you as the bad guy when you rightfully got upset. It's not wrong to hold on to something that reminds you of your late fiancé, even if it's an engagement ring. Is there any way to track down the rings and get them back? You may be able to report them stolen and see if the police will help you find who she sold it to. NTA. It doesn't matter what it was. She stole from you and sold it. That is a trust issue that is hard to overcome. But she is very insecure, and your past, which involves someone else you loved, is not something she can control. So she wants it erased. She is small, petty, a liar, and a thief. She didn't choose just something at random to sell. Her insecurity drove her to choose a symbol of your late wife in all but ceremony. She resents that too. You weren't starving. Rent was paid. She spent the money on the apartment to justify her theft and crazy behavior. You need to break up with her if she thinks she needs an apology. Please, dump her and no regrets. You are dodging a bullet. Red flags everywhere, and your story wasn't that long. NTA. Please reconsider this relationship. Your fiancé has absolutely no respect for you. It would be reasonable to ask you not to wear them if you were, but keeping them in a small box of precious memories seems lovely. Your deceased partner was tragically taken from you. There is nothing wrong with wanting to keep a part of her. The fact that your fiancé stole the rings and sold them after talking to you shows exactly how compassionate she is, which is none. I would let her permanently stay at that friend's place and find a woman who has more empathy than a cockroach. Also, please file a police report. She stole and sold items that were yours. You deserve those back. She isn't mature enough to handle the complexities of being with someone who lost their partner. Of course you will always have love for her. It doesn't mean you can't love again. But you need to be with someone who is willing to honor what that relationship meant. I think it's time to move on while also checking to see if there is any way to recover the rings. The police may be able to aid in this. NTA. She's disrespectful and she sold them out of spite. NTA. I'm so sorry for your loss. Both the loss of your fiancé and the loss of those mementos from your life together. I won't presume to tell you what to do, but I don't think you should marry this woman. This is a deep and fundamental betrayal. How could you ever trust her again? I would tell her that she needs to come collect her things and find somewhere else to live immediately. The relationship has ended, and she is responsible for that period. NTA. Do not marry his woman. NTA. She had no right to steal your belongings and sell them. I would lose my poop. Let there be a lesson. This is how insecure she is, and is not a reflection on you. When she comes back, take the ring you gave her 2 months ago and sell it to help you get through this financial hardship. Then get rid of her. NTA. That's horrible. WTF. Are you sure this is someone you want to marry? Not only did she disrespect your wishes about your rings and stole them, she refuses to even apologize and admit that she did something hurtful. Is there any way you can get them back? She wanted to spend the night at a friend's place till I figure out my priorities. Sounds like the perfect opportunity to tell her that you don't want to date or live with a thief who has made it crystal clear that your past will always be a source of insecurity in the relationship. There's no surviving this. Or at least there shouldn't be. There is like the Sparks link. Reddit. Umbilical cord link. Reddit. com/r/amethyst/comment/gr/w90y/ater_for_cord/com/gr/w90y/ater_umbilical_cord/. And widow photos link. Reddit. com/r/amethyst/comment/hi04og/ater_for_kickin. g_girlfriend_out_after_she_deleted/ UTM_SOURCE=SHARE and UTM_MEDIUM=WEB2X, all rolled up in one. NTA ex-fiancé right. NTA your finance is a bad person. She stole those rings because of her petty jealousy. She doesn't love you as you are. She loves some version of you that is only in her head. Please leave her. Please find out where the rings went and try to get them back. But regardless, please leave her. You deserve so much better. This chick doesn't understand the painful loss you experienced. I personally would end the relationship. NTA. Also, I'm so sorry for your loss. NTA. Dump her. NTA. WTF? Question mark? Exclamation mark. You still have feelings for your late fiancé? Question mark? Exclamation mark. Of course you do. This isn't a breakup. This is a death. That is not something that you just move on from. For duck's sake. My husband's first wife still lives with us. Her urn is my husband's hobby shop. Am I jealous? No. She is literally deceased. It's not a competition. Your current fiancé is literally jealous of a dead person. Like, does she realize how ridiculous that makes us seem? I would make her contact the person she sold them to and try to buy them back. I would also explain it to her like she's 5. Just because you still care for your fiancé does not mean you care for her any less. Channel a bit of the old mommy and daddy having a new baby doesn't mean we love your less vibe. But honestly, her actions were not just an asshole's move. They were manipulative and underhanded. She does not understand what it's like to be with a widow and you deserve better. NTA. Just wow. What a self-centered asshole your fiancé is. I hope you are rethinking this thing. She clearly has no respect for your feelings or personal property. I'm so sorry for your loss. But I don't think this one is the one to move on with. NTA. This woman overstepped all the boundaries possible. And this comes from a 40-year-old. Just to give you perspective. NTA. I'm really at a loss for what to tell you other than I hope that you are able to move past this while you are healing from breaking up with this terrible person. Holy NTA. They were a very important item to you. Ask the fiancé who she sold them to and go begging for the rings back. This wasn't a PlayStation. It was a very sentimental item that you and only you could decide when to let go of it. NTA. This is extremely cruel behavior from your fiancé. Marrying a widow means accepting that your partner will always love that person and being mature enough to understand that that doesn't diminish their love for you. She is not mature enough for it by a long shot. You are NTA. She is a crazy lady. I'm sorry I'm being blunt. You should leave her. Seriously. Or she needs to completely understand how she has been wrong. She also thinks that you are her property and hence she decided to sell the rings. She not only took you for granted, but she doesn't have a tiny bit of empathy. She has been selfish. This has to be a big omen for you to make your future call. She really is an ag and a jealous person. Edit. Gosh. I'm feeling so furious about what she did. I'm so sorry for your loss. NTA. File a police report. NTA. This is theft. Find out who she sold it to. Take screenshots of the messages and transaction between them and your ex. Since it's marketplace, they are probably a local. File a police report. They will have to give the rings back to you. They are stolen property. They will have to sue your ex to get the money back. Oh, and dump the girl. She is a jealous, pathetic thief. NTA. She has no boundaries. And zero respect for you or your feelings. I would seriously reconsider this relationship. Wow, just holy shit. I'm so sorry, man. I think you need to consider whether this is the person you want to share your life with. NTA. NTA. You didn't need to explain that they were important to you. Any adult capable of empathy would be able to figure that out. And she sold them knowing they were important to you out of spite. She isn't mature enough to be in a relationship with someone who has been through such loss. And I hope you take this as a sign that you shouldn't marry her. NTA. That's evil. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.